Welcome back. You're watching Markets at Noon on ET. Now, a lot that happened in FY24, like Anisha was mentioning before as well, was on the funding side as well in terms of QIPs raised. But for startups, it was a bit subdued because that funding winter had still continued. Now, to decode all of that, what is going to be happening in FY25? So many QIP blocks that happen in FY24. Neha Agarwal, MD and Head Equity Capital at Markets at JM Financials, is joining in with us. Neha, very good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining in with us this afternoon on ET. Now, it's a pleasure having you on the show. Let's talk about FY24. Decent year in terms of, at least when you look at it, for the number of IPOs that had come in, the QIPs that were there as well. FY25 does have an exciting list in terms of big names as well. So what is it looking like in terms of one could expect for a pipeline kind of a thing for FY25, fundraising pipeline, anything that you could give us an indication?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I do believe there's every reason to be optimistic about India. What we're witnessing right now is an unprecedented era of economic development. Look at the kind of macroeconomic stability that investors are over here on the forefront with. It's literally an era marked by, if I have to really say it, it's boom in infrastructure, in investments, and in investors. So from an India standpoint, we are at the forefront, attracting investments not only from domestic mutual funds, but FIIs. What we saw in FY23 was a boom year for capital markets. Literally the highest ever fundraise from QIPs, close to 70,000 crores. IPOs, another 60,000 crores. 1.5 lakh crores has been raised through equity markets in FY23. I actually see this momentum continue into FY24 even stronger. There's certain, we believe QIPs will be at least 1 to 1.5 lakh crores of fundraise, largely deleveraging of balance sheets, a lot of consolidation happening in consumer sector, in pharma sector, where equity is literally being used as a source of capital for those acquisitions. And financial services, PSU banks contributed close to 35% of the fundraise of QIPs last year. We actually believe this trend will continue. You're going to see a lot of banks out there raising capital. You're going to see a lot coming in from manufacturing segment, autocoms, renewables, power sector, because if India has to grow, power is a subset and derivative of growth. You are going to see a lot of activity even on the power sector in India.
Okay, so you're expecting 1.5 lakh crore kind of number when it comes to QIPs for this year as well. But Neha, there is this worry as well that probably it's always believed that, private equity players exit at the peak and the retail investors just keep on following suit. Do you think that kind of fear or nervousness will set in, which might limit the pace of these fundraise via QIP or exits from the big investors?
Actually, that's a very good question. But if you see the data, right, of all the IPOs of financial year 23, the average return, FY24 as well, 2 years consistently, IPOs have given close to 35 to 40% return on a 6-month basis for every, if I literally have to average it. So investors have made money. Institutional investors, most of the IPOs are being priced both by domestics and FIIs. So I think they have taken a valuation decision before they come in and write their checks. And basis that, you will see performance being extremely supportive of that as a product. So yes, a lot of companies which do have significant private equity investors, the norm is that they get priced expensive, but you actually see that post-return perspective, investors have made money largely across products on the main board listing.
Right, Neha,
and you're going to see some very large deals come off in this year, especially laid out by digital and infra space.
Okay, digital and infra space, that's something interesting. I just want to understand overall, if you could give us a word in terms of, we had seen that funding winter that continued almost for a year for the startup world as well. So now if this starts improving, is that something that we could see that funding winter maybe coming to an end over there as well?
We're actually seeing that happen, in all the analyst pre-marketing. Our analysts are out there on the road, meeting investors, talking about this sector. Ultimately, investors are looking at unit economics, and companies which are focusing on their path to profitability, I think they're going to see a phenomenal window of opportunity out there in the markets in this financial year. It's all about ultimately building solid, profitable businesses with extremely strong management teams.
Okay, totally. It's company-specific action, but you did talk about how digital as well as power and banking. These are some of the spaces which are likely to see a lot of action. Neha, appreciate your time on the show, and thanks so much for joining us
Thank
with
you.
that quick take. So, yes, FY24 was very strong when it comes to IPOs and QIPs, but FY25 has all the reasons to be even better. That's the word coming in from JM Financials. But separately on the markets, we continue to track what's happening. Take a look at Indus Tower. We were just highlighting how Vodafone